Good afternoon, guys. Tony back again, Horror in Todge. Hope everyone's well. Sunday afternoon here in the UK. And today's video, I was talking about it in my last video, I'm going to do 5 found footage horror movies that really scared me and can really scare you. Now, it's not going to be the normal sort of, stuff we've all heard of. Some of these you would have heard of, but not sort of so mainstream, if you know what I mean, like the Blair Witch Project, which is really scary, Paranormal Activity, which is really scary, Wreck, all stuff like that. And I do find, I've said it before, the found footage genre to be the scariest genre in horror. That's my opinion, guys. It might not be all yours, but some people might say, oh, they don't scare me or anything. But I when I turn the lights out and I'm on my own and I get it on the TV, no distractions, just a found footage horror movie on late at night, about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, I find them to be quite terrifying. You're looking over your shoulder and stuff. I find them to be more, you're more submersed with a sort of either a video camera or a television camera that you know's there, that sort of thing, or a mockumentary, that sort of thing, a phone, anything like that. I find it quite submersive sort of thing. So yeah, I just find them brilliant. And I'm not going to say I'm the biggest found footage horror movie, goer. I haven't watched them all. There's hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds. And I'm just going to go through 5 that aren't on such a beaten track, but are really scary movies, guys. So I'm going to start off from the first sort of, the earliest found footage movie I have, and I think it was one of the first found footage movies ever. And it's a film from 1989 called the McPherson Tapes. Now, this one isn't one of the scariest, to be fair, but I suppose in 1989 when this came out, I bet this was terrifying, because people would have probably thought, is this real? Is this, because the found footage genre wasn't really on the scene then, like now with the spawning, like I say, of Paranormal Activity and stuff, that they're everywhere. But this then must have come out and must have shocked people. But essentially, it's the McPherson Tapes. It's a guy who's got an handheld camera and he's taking his niece's 5-year-old birthday party, like recording it, and then he keeps his camera going, and it sort of takes place the night, and it's about like an alien sort of abduction. Some really creepy scenes in this. Like I say, not the most scariest, but definitely some creepy moments and some really strange stuff going on. And just with a camera style, and like I say, for the 80s, I thought this was terrific. I thought the acting was really well done. I thought, it was believable. And yeah, I just thought back then in 1989 when this came out, it was it must have been something else. So yeah, that's the McPherson Tapes, guys. This is a Vinegar Syndrome release, so that's probably the earliest one I've got. Then one of the earliest ones I can remember, I suppose if you can call it a found footage, I am going to. This was really scary back in the day, guys. So this is from 1992, and it was a BBC production, and it was called, this is the only way I've got it, it's on a 2-disc sort of thing from 101 Films, and it's this one here, Ghost Watch. So if you haven't watched this, guys, it's basically a television broadcast goes out. I think it was on Halloween one night, and it sticks in my head. It was from 2002. Well, I was born in 84, so I would have been 8. But I can remember this being on TV, and sort of my mum and my gran being in their house, and they was like, I was always a big fan of watching, Dracula and the Hammer horror stuff, even when I was young. So I watched this with them, and it was like, this is, I don't know if this is real or not. So essentially it follows 4 broadcasters, like Michael Parkinson, one of the biggest, presenters in British history. And I think you had like Lorraine Green and probably a young Craig Charles, people like that. And it was like 4 broadcasters went to the most haunted house in England, and it was like portrayed as, we're going to go there with these television crew and record it. And all sorts was going off, like there was people being like scratched down the back, and the cameras moving, and the actual audience, and I can remember at the time, thought this was real, because there was no internet or anything then, as such. No one got anything out. Everyone kept it a secret. And with these well-known presenters being there and like being on prime time, sort of 9 o'clock on, I don't know when it was, it might have been a Saturday or Friday night, and everyone was submerged. And the amount of complaints, this got like banned from ever being broadcast on TV again, I think. And apparently, I don't know how true it was later on at school, people were saying like some people actually committed suicide over this because they thought it was real, and they thought these ghosts were sort of making them commit suicide and stuff. Now, I don't know if that was true or not. I'd have to look it up a bit more, but certainly a very terrifying watch then in 1992. Maybe not so much now. I bought this the other year and I haven't even revisited yet, because from the childhood memories, what I remember and the clips I've watched for this, I didn't rewatch it, but I will do soon, I think. Maybe Halloween time. But I just remember it being quite terrifying. I think it's only an hour and a half long, but I thought back then when I was 8 years old, it lasted bloody all night, it seemed to. Unless it sort of split itself up into parts. I can't remember now, but really terrifying. Like I say, they went to these families' houses and there was running up and down stairs. There was lights going off, things flying across the room, people screaming because they were hurt, and this, it was going back and forth to a studio audience, and the studio audience were as shocked as sort of you on the camera. I don't think they was in on it. I think it was all to do great directing and producing, I suppose. But definitely one to watch, guys, if you want to watch something crazy from 1992. Ghost Watch. A more sort of recent one, one from the US, and this was really scary, I thought, and it's called House LLC. I don't think it's got a Blu-ray release, and you have to get this from, I think I got this from Hell House actual internet, because I don't think they actually brought a DVD out. I think it's on like video on demand or something. But basically this, I'll give you the rundown what happens. 5 years after an unexplained malfunction causes the death of 15 tourgoers and staff on the opening night of a Halloween haunted house tour, a documentary crew travels back to the scene of the tragedy to find out what really happened. So they go back to this like haunted house attraction, and man, oh god, is this scary. There's lots of clowns and stuff moving on the camera. Oh my god, it made me jump out my skin. But a great found footage horror movie, and there is I think this one's better than, if you've seen Houses of October built, I think it's called in this country, or yeah, Houses of October built. That's similar to this with haunted attractions, and that's another good one. But I find this one to be scarier and more convincing, a lower budget. The ending sort of left a little bit to be desired, because it sort of takes a weird turn right at the end. But the actual film itself, turn your lights out, get involved, guys. It's yeah, Hell House LLC. It'll make you jump out your skin. Really good found footage horror movie. This one's another more of a mockumentary style, but it's got found footage elements because they find tapes and stuff. And I've heard a lot of people say this is really scary, and I've found this copy, and it's really expensive now. This is on Blu-ray. The only way you could get it was in Germany, and you've probably heard me talk about it before. Is it the scariest film of all time? It's definitely up there for me, and it's Lake Mungo from 2008. Now this is a mockumentary, Australian, really believable. So there's like these guys coming on screen talking about it, policemen and eyewitnesses and stuff. And essentially it follows this girl. Oh no, I don't know if this film was 2008. I don't know when it come out, but basically it says 2008. Alice Palmer, that was the girl's name in this. She died, and basically it was about trying to find out what happened to this girl. And there's all sorts of twists and turns in this, guys. It's so don't know, it makes you think so much. It's like you can be watching something on the screen, like a video recording, like the parents think they're being haunted in the house from this girl who's died, and they set up this camera, and there's things moving about, and then there's little things in the corner that you see, and you think, is that meant to be there? Am I really seeing this? And sort of stuff outside that sort of, and there's lots of little Easter eggs, and at the end of the movie, you can watch this and it sort of tells you some little Easter eggs, and you think, oh, I wasn't actually seeing stuff. But a really scary movie, guys, what happened to this girl. She travels to Lake Mungo with a school sort of trip, and something happens to this young girl. She's like at high school or something, and afterwards she's never the same again. It makes her like, you know, I don't know, just all sorts of weird stuff happening. If you haven't seen this one, this is a really scary movie, guys. Lake Mungo, mockumentary style again, but one that's you don't hear talked about too much. Probably everyone might have seen it who's on my channel, but I really enjoyed this, guys. So have a look at this. That's Lake Mungo. And the last one I'm going to talk about is probably, arguably, one of my favourite found footage. You all know about this if you've watched my channel for a long time. And this is the Borderlands, a British found footage horror movie. Really good cast. Got the Blu-ray now. I did have a DVD copy, but I've actually got the Blu-ray. And I think it's called The Final Prayer in the USA, this film. And the Borderlands basically about these small church in rural England, and it's being like, they think there's a poltergeist in there. Stuff's happening in the church, basically. It's only a tiny church, just a small pew and a couple of rows of you know, church rows of pews. And they set all these cameras up. These two guys come, a film guy and a priest, but he's a bit sort of losing his faith a bit. He's drinking, and you know, and they sort of go to this church, and they do suspect something's happening, but they just sort of laugh it off. They think the priest's going mad, or he's just trying to get, you know, the church sort of some publicity. But they find out, you know, there's more to this than meets the eye. And really terrifying movie, guys. They set up cameras in the church, and there's all little bits and bobs of movement and stuff. And they bring this other priest in who's sort of straight down the line, and he sort of squares them up a bit. But it's the ending is absolutely terrifying. Going down this small tunnel in the church to find out what's happening, and sort of leaves like a bitter taste in your mouth. What happens to these guys? If you haven't seen this, but really well acted. Some quite funny parts, and I just love this film, Borderlands. So yeah, that's my 5 guys that I found truly terrifying. Get in the comments, tell me if you've, you know, seen these films, what you think, what's your most terrifying. We all know about the Blair Witch. I found that quite really scary now, scarier than when I first saw it, because I was like 15 at the time, and everyone was like, oh, this is boring. But nowadays I thought, you know, really terrifying. You know, Paranormal Activity. I love the way Paranormal Activity spawn lots of movies, you know, like the Mark ones. That's my favourite Paranormal Activity, Mexican theme. And then you've got stuff like The Taking of Deborah Logan. That's an absolutely terrifying film about a woman with like Alzheimer's, and they go in with a video camera, and she's sort of possessed and all sorts. A really good film. Wreck, which I've talked about before, about a broadcast station from Barcelona, and they go into this sort of apartment building that's been sort of had this virus spread through it, and they're sort of zombies. Great found footage movie. The Troll Hunter, if you haven't seen that, that's a really good one. Some guys are like going across, I can't remember, somewhere in Scandinavia, maybe Norway or something, searching for this giant troll. Cloverfield is another good one. There's just so many, guys. As Above, Below, if you haven't seen that one, another great one. There's lots, there's hundreds and hundreds of found footage movies, but I find them all to be quite scary, to be fair, than your normal sort of mainstream stuff. So like I said, what if you know, you know, if you've seen these, let me know. Let me know. Get a conversation going, guys. And yeah, let's have a chat about them and see what happens. See if you might think, oh, these aren't scary. What are you on about, man? But I just find all this sort of stuff scary, found footage stuff, my scariest. So I've been Tony, guys. I'll catch you all next week for another video. Thanks a lot for watching.